And it's just such an honor to do this and to be here with you every single day because this is important. And you know why? Because I opened up my dad's Bible. You know, I love to read from my dad's precious Bible. Psalms 133. You're not going to believe this. It only has 3 verses. He's underlined 2 of them. And Dad loved the Word of God, and he left me this treasure. And I hope that you're leaving a Bible that is a treasure for your own children, so that one day when you're long gone, they can kind of see what you felt really ministered to your heart, and it's going to then minister to their heart. So in Psalms 133, it says, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard that went down to the skirts of his garments." My dad loved unity. He loved when people all got along, but he also knew that he had to be strong when that was required as a leader. And I love that the United States has found a place of unity recently. Let's hope that they can keep it and get a lot done for the sake of the entire country, because a mandate has truly been given. Let's talk a little bit about that today and other things with Mel K. She is well versed on a lot of things, and I'll tell you about her. She's the host of the Mel K Show. She's a devoted lover of truth, facts, history, God, and America. Her daily show is viewed hundreds of thousands of times each week and listened to by many, many more. The Mel K Show is laser focused on educating and informing the public about the malevolent geopolitical forces that are hell-bent on bringing about the end of nation states and the self-determination of free peoples to achieve top-down global governance. Well, wasn't that given a real kick in the pants this last little bit with Donald Trump getting such a strong showing and really sweeping the nation? Mel K, thanks for being with us. You must be excited about what this miracle that was witnessed there in the United States.
It truly was like a miracle. Honestly, since the Butler shooting failed forward, it has felt like one thing after another was just showing the way for this country forward. And I honestly had no doubt that Donald Trump would win, but I was pleasantly surprised that the Wag the Dog campaign of Kamala Harris, with all the Hollywood and all the scripted meetings and shows and all of that, didn't work. And frankly, they kept saying that it was going to be all women that were going to vote for her. But it turns out that that's not the case. Women, men, black, white, gay, straight, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. It crossed all lines. It really was a coming together of the people. I think that the Make America Healthy Again, joining up with the Make America Great Again group, really just put it into orbit. And I feel like it's not just better for the United States, it's frankly better for the whole world. And I think many, many people around the world, whether they were admitting it or not, did have a sigh of relief on Wednesday morning when they realized, okay, now we are going to be able to negotiate a better future, peace and prosperity and all kinds of things that really we were not going in that direction. And God made up his mind, I think, first. And we are on the way to a much better future.
It was truly spectacular. I think that people showed up. So apparently, like the black community, the Hispanics, women, they thought women were all going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's just so strong. I mean, she just wants every baby aborted. If there's any chance you remotely want that kid aborted, we're going to make sure that we can make that really possible for you. And doesn't care about the length or, how far along the pregnancy is. She's a very godless woman. She's a liar. They couldn't stop talking, and spreading absolute lies about Donald Trump, and none of it worked.
No. And you have to remember, they greatly underestimated the people of the United States, our intelligence, what matters to us. I mean, all these people that thought that somehow people would vote for late-term abortion were also okay with their teenage children, girls playing boys in sports. And they just went on this great tangent, I think, maybe in the bubble of Hollywood, that's normal, but it's not anywhere else. And I think most people also understand that her tactics were very manipulative, very emotionally driven, and with not a lot of substance. It was really, I had spent 22 years in Hollywood, and all I kept thinking was, who wrote this and who coached this? Because it seemed like it was all about playing on people's emotions and compassion without any facts or substance. And I think most people were also looking at the open border, at our financial system, what's happening with the BRICS nations as opposed to what's happening with us. And at the same time, the escalation to World War III that none of us want. Like Trump, most people would like the killing to stop and the peace to start. And I really do believe that we are going to see a much better alignment in the future of a lot of these countries that we've been told are our enemies when the people aren't. And it's time for us to really, as people of all of our nations, stand up for what we believe in. And I think we had a great moment to start the momentum. And I hope Canada is next, and the UK, and all the other Five Eyes nations that I feel have been isolated from the rest of the world, instead of what we should be doing, which is building bridges with the rest of the world for a better future, now that we have basically this Bush, Clinton, Obama, Biden, world
Trudeau.
order is
Yeah.
over. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Trudeau's one of them, but it's over. I mean, it was a huge, I think, rebuke against this entire idea that nation states no longer work and that we have to give up our sovereignty to a billionaire globalist oligarchy. I mean, I don't know how much longer Trudeau can hang in there, or Macron, or any of these architects, but I don't think too much longer, because I think God is taking the wheel.
So what is it that you have appreciated about this rise of Trump in the United States? Like, in spite of the fact that he's had a bit of a sordid past, was once very much more Democrat than Republican, he has risen and stood up for the things that really matter to the Americans. And so, what is it that you most loved about him?
Well, I will tell you from, and I was just there at Mar-a-Lago this week. I will tell you one thing that a lot of people don't realize about Trump. Trump's entire world is based around the happiness of his grandchildren and his children. This is not just a face that you're seeing. This is a man that rather spend all of his time, day and night, with his kids and his grandkids at home, enjoying each other. So to me, I think a lot of people, including Tucker Carlson and multiple other people that love their children, and have children of the age of getting married and having kids and all that, they really did put their family, the children, our future, and auto-determination and liberty ahead of everything else, including their own lives, for those two men and many others. So for me, I think this is a return to family values that has been largely tried to be destroyed. It's a return to faith and freedom, and redefining what is everything that has been turned upside down. They've used this lawfare and the manipulation of language, this kind of Luciferian doublespeak, inverted talk. And I think it's time to go back to as spoken by the Lord, as spoken by the people, is clear to what it's saying. I mean, it does feel we've been living through a 1984 newspeak period. And I think it's time that people just start speaking the truth from the heart, calling things what they are. And, being tolerant only hurt us. I mean, I understand there's a limit to tolerance, but when tolerance becomes abusive and you're being canceled or silenced or censored, and it was ramping up, I think that really, really did go against the grain of our DNA as America in general. And I just think all these things were hard to hide. And then the news media, I mean, what a disgrace. Just so biased, so cruel, lying to the people. And thank God, no matter what you think of Elon Musk, if it wasn't for him, millions of people, billions of people maybe, might not even know. And again, you too, we have to thank you and other podcasts out there, because this certainly was the death knell of controlled corporate media for independent voices that are willing to not only speak the truth, but do the heavy lifting of being skeptical and investigating. And God bless the podcasters out there like yourself, because that is really who helped win this election.
Amazing. And what do you think about Elon maybe buying CNN, or taking over even more media? Wouldn't it just be an upside down turnaround?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. I have heard about multiple other people that have come to see the light of how important freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of gathering, all these things that were being slowly taken away and dismantled are so important that I think we'll see a big reshuffling. I don't think any of these mainstream networks, especially the CNN, MSNBC, will survive unless they take a big, hard look in the mirror and realize what they have done to at least half the country, or likely about 100 million people. And another thing that happened was that a lot of their lies were exposed when looking at the numbers, because it was very clear looking at 2020 to 2024, something was very amiss in the 2020 election. So for all the lawyers that had lawfared against them, their licenses taken away for questioning or wanting recounts, or the election denier storyline, suddenly people were like, wow, that's weird. 400,000 less people voted in Georgia than 2020. So it's just kind of like light to dark, dark to light, switching sides, shining truth. I think truth is going to win here. And I think secrecy, the way America's been playing it, honestly, since 1963 and the murder of JFK, those days
Right.
are over. We're going to transparency, truth, and accountability. And I think that's what most people want.
We really do. The lies regarding race and who would vote and not vote for Donald Trump. I want to show you MSNBC's Joy Reid as she's saying Trump's victory is due to anti-blackness.
And it's this idea of, I want to be with the side that's waving the biggest flag. I want to fit in. And there is a huge element, to be honest, of anti-blackness in a lot of this. Anti-black Americanness specifically. And Paula and I have talked about this, that there is a part of that anti-blackness is a piece of it. Even though Enrique Tarrio, who's the head of the Proud Boys, is a black Latino, but he's down with white supremacists. Down with them. And there's this idea that I'm black, but I'm not black. I may look black to you. I may be black if I'm walking through Bloomingdale's and get followed around. But in my mind, I'm identifying with whiteness, because whiteness means privilege, and it means not being a black American. This has to be unpacked, because this shift among Latino men is significant.
I so hope she is out of a job soon. Comcast is talking about selling MSNBC, so she might be out of a job. She's just so mean. It's not true. Like, all of her white hate, she wants to, literally say that this is about people hating black people when it's really her hating white people.
Yeah, I mean, this has been such a disgusting phase in America. I'm friends with a lot of Black, especially academics and people out there that have been so embarrassed, especially after Black Lives Matter ended up not helping the Black community at all, and that all, everything in the back with this. But honestly, that those four people, white people, sit there and nod as she's saying this is part of the problem. That's what I'm talking about how much we allowed them to push and push and push and push until we almost fell off the cliff. Joy Reid should not be saying things like that and get a free pass. And this has been going on. And I will tell you, the saddest part, I wrote Americans Anonymous because I think our country needs an intervention. And one of the biggest interventions we need is to start dealing in facts and truth. America voted for a Black president twice. America was all behind that we needed a Black female justice. We needed DEI and CRT everywhere. That, George Floyd died because of white supremacist cops, not a drug overdose. I mean, we're done playing this game. It is so insulting. And you know what? Most good people don't even care. Let me tell you something. Before Barack Obama started this, relations between Black, white, gay, straight were at an all-time high. Obama is a color revolutionary that came in with his group and started throwing bombs, just like Joy Reid, right out of the Marxist Harvard University, right to MSNBC, to destroy this country from within. And you know what? Not only should she not be able to be on TV, but people need to really look at what she's done to this country, because I will tell you, there are women and men that watch MSNBC around this country that are mentally ill, and I believe have been in an abusive relationship with people like Joy Reid and Nicole Wallace and Don Lemon, who have told them over and over for 4 years that they're the problem because they were born with white skin. Enough's enough. Do you know what the suicide rate for white men in America because of these people? Nobody talks about it. How about the suicide rate for cops and border patrol and all of that because of these people getting away with that? And those 4 people, Jen Psaki and her true elitist white friends, sitting there nodding is the most embarrassing of them all. Let Joy Reid go on, but the 4 of them to not push back at all is just a disgrace. I really
It really
do believe
is.
that.
And so Americans Anonymous, you basically have encapsulated what you've been studying and speaking on that has been going on in America.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what it really is about is that America right now has been deceived for many years. As I said, I believe that the murder of JFK was the coup against this nation. The cover up, the Warren Report and the Warren Commission became the model for this country once they got away with it. And everything since has been we'll investigate ourselves. Nobody outside coming in. Oh, here's what happened. And guess what? Moving on. Well, we can't move on, and we got to go back and we got to figure this out, because it appears that both Bushes, Clinton, Obama, and Biden have all been in on the idea of global governance and shifting everything away since Obama signed on to Agenda 2030 in 2015. But frankly, Obama was chosen by Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid when he was a one-term senator. He was a one-term senator in Ukraine putting together bioweapons labs. His entire history was hidden from the American people. He had relatives, both fathers, but mother and grandmother, that were involved in intelligence and possibly the CIA. It is time for America to be honest about who we are, how we got here, and what's been done with our money while we've been propagandized and lied to. I believe that Kash Patel and Ezra Cohen and a couple of the people that are coming, I believe, back in have had it. And a whole chapter in my book for anyone that's been through recovery of any kind, there's a whole step that's about, I call it sick is our secrets. And you know what? Let's just look at it. Who's responsible, and let's have some accountability. I mean, the Clintons are on stage to standing ovations at the DNC convention while they have an abortion clinic mobile outside. They're all about the women. Bill Clinton went to Epstein Island 27 times and has never been questioned. It's just the insult to the American people that I think has gotten too far, the arrogance of these criminals. And it does appear that one cover up after another cover up in the intelligence community, especially post unconstitutional Patriot Act, has been rewarded with being promoted. So what have we been dealing with here? And I think it's time for the American people to demand answers. This really goes back to something around the time of World War II and the creation of the UN and the CIA, the National Security Act. Well, if it's national security that things are redacted and hidden from the American people, fine. But if it's crimes that our government committed, be it crimes against humanity or crimes against we the people, not fine. And I think we have a period of accountability, responsibility, and judgment upcoming. And God willing, a worldwide Nuremberg 2.0 that will start the healing on a massive scale. Because I believe it's going to be a difficult 6 months. And after that, I think we could have the greatest future, a new coming together of nation states that are proud, have their borders, language, culture, history, all taken again as a symbol of pride, and sharing the world together in cooperation. This zero-sum game, you win or I win, we can't both win, is BS. It's over. And I really do believe that we are going to see a better world ahead and cooperation everywhere. I pray for Canada and Mexico as well, because we share this amazing North America, and it should be thriving. We should have farmland everywhere. We should be manufacturing everything that we could do, everything we want. All 3 of our countries deserve to be the best they can be. And until we get rid of this top-down model that is really coming from Davos and Switzerland and all, we're not going to have that. It's the people of our nations that have the power, and we've been convinced that we don't. That's why I wrote Americans Anonymous, taking back power to the people, one citizen at a time. First, we have to get real and admit there's a problem. Then we have to admit we're the problem. Then we have to realize that God and fellowship is the answer to getting us back to where we need to be and becoming our best selves. So I frankly think that this is the beginning, and a lot of populist movements have won all over the world. And I really do believe that we have a much better future, but we have to stand strong for what we believe in and not be afraid to be canceled or censored or silenced. And, I did have a big sigh of relief because I was scared of my own government until Trump won. And now I know that I can continue to speak and speak to you freely. And I want that for the rest of the world. And I do believe that without America, a lot of these plans, especially the Digital Services Act that is outrageous in the EU, I don't think these can survive if America's not in on it. So now Biden signed on to the Pact of the Future Global Digital Compact. I expect Trump to pull out of that. I expect him to pull out of the fraudulent Paris Climate Accords. I expect him to pull out of the World Health Organization and go and figure out what happened during the pandemic. And I expect him to go pull out of UNESCO, all this stuff, because every nation should be responsible to make its nation great again. And that's going to start with the people of every country realizing that they actually are the government.
We love you so much, Mel K. Thank you. You can get your book, Americans Anonymous, where books are sold. Thank you for being such an incredible hero for all of us, for North America. We've had you on so many times because you give us courage because of your courage and your willingness to speak out. So thank you.
Well, I love you. God bless you. You are such a breath of fresh air, and we love you in America. Thank you.
God bless. Thank you, Mel K.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Isn't that fun? So she was just at Mar-a-Lago, she said. And the thing about Mel is she's not afraid to speak the truth. And that is something that is being lost in our world. And we do hope that because Donald Trump is in, that free speech, it's the number one thing. You have to be able to speak what is on your heart and mind. And yes, it would be nice if everyone did it with respect and decency, but some of them don't do that on the other side, and yet they have a right to speak. And we have to maintain that. People like Joy Reid and others want everything shut down. If you don't believe in their agenda, then somehow you're a hater, and that's what we're facing in Canada as well. Let's take a look at, I wanted to look at a couple more media things that have been just making me howl. I love watching this. Here's some media reaction about the election we recently had. First up is CBS News journalist John Dickerson talking to Stephen Colbert.
How would you explain that to a 14-year-old today? How would you explain this election?
I'll try not to think about my boys, because...
Yes.
And here's Jimmy Kimmel.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Cry, you baby. Cry some more. No, it was not a bad night. It was a great night. And I don't know what's wrong with these people. Really godless people. They just want abortions. They just want DEI. They want the whole country being race-baited. They don't stand for their country having safe borders. They don't seem to care that crime is skyrocketing and that people have been murdered by those who have come in from other places. They don't seem to care that other countries in the world have let open the prison doors so that all the prisoners can get out of there. Now they're not their problem anymore. Now they're America's problem. And a couple of people have said to me, in light of what is about to happen with mass deportations and the things that they're going to be doing to rectify the situation, that Canada is someplace that they would run because they'd rather come to the cold north than head back home where they were fleeing from, and getting out of prisons and mental institutions and things like that. And I'm sure that there are some good people. There have to be in all of that group, and probably some real Christians that have made it to the United States and are, believing for a better life. And I do pray that the Lord will sift it all out, because everyone needs a new start if it's possible. What is not okay is opening wide your borders, not vetting who is coming in, and creating a huge crisis. And I heard someone talking last night on the tube about basically a plan that would be, listen, we're going to ship you home now and ship your whole family if you're a family, but we will give you maybe first in line to begin to do it legally. And don't come back. Don't invade our borders again. This was not the way to do it. And that would be a good thing. Anyone that's a criminal, and apparently they've known who criminals are, and they're still loose in the United States of America. And Canada, that means they can get up across our border as well. So none of this is okay, and none of it is good. Let's also look then at Scott Jennings on CNN explaining to the lefty panel that Trump now has a mandate.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican, for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line, and we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
I really appreciated Van Jones just kind of sitting there quietly listening. You know, my heart has gone out to him. I remember in the 2016 election when he basically had the courage to say that Donald Trump looked presidential, and he got lambasted. I mean, they went after him, and you know what? He became a cowering, nonsense speaker from that point on. He was not able ever again to really speak the truth that he knew in his heart, that Donald Trump was good for the country. And even now, I think that he's just compromised because people have so bullied anybody that would stand up for Donald Trump. And Van Jones is a man, I've seen sometimes that there seems to be a spirit like of God on him. There's been times when I've seen him speak truth on an issue, but then he just goes back because I think that he can't stand up to losing the support of people. So he has cowered in the face of people and not stood up to speak the word of God to his nation. And I pray that God will get a hold of that man, actually. I like him. I think that he's intelligent, but he's afraid. And when you operate out of fear, this is a word for any one of us. When you operate out of fear, you just make such mistakes. Okay, Chrystia Freeland reacting to Trump not liking her. Did you see this? Hilarious.
Donald Trump has said that he doesn't like you very much. Donald Trump has said that he doesn't like you very much in the past. What makes you the best person to lead the Canadian government's efforts here?
I think that President Trump will obviously speak for himself, and I would never put words in his mouth. But in my experience, President Trump respects strength, and he respects people and countries who are strong and clear in defending their countries, in defending their national interest. That's what I've always done, and that's what I will continue to do.
Oh, so funny. I mean, the worst nightmare for any country in the world, really, is that Donald Trump just became the king of the world with what just happened. And of course, Donald Trump honors the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and Chrystia Freeland would never honor the King of Kings. And so she's now, well, you know, he's a powerful man, and I'd never want to put words in his mouth. So I wouldn't say that he doesn't like me, but actually that, you know, that I'm, you know, have not been considered a very good leader in his eyes. I think that would be more of a better way, because he just doesn't know me. And so I think because of my strength, because Donald Trump does love really strong women, that I think that I would then be an awesome, awesome leader for Canada. You know, she'd be worse than Kamala Harris, right? Like for us, like I don't even think the Liberals want her. And I just don't know what is going on with her mind, the things that she says. She's just in so many ways so confused about what is right and what is wrong. The whole lot of them are. One more final thing, because we do see that they are trying to move the date of the next election. And so Canadian Taxpayers Federation, Frank Terrazzano, I hope I'm saying it right, explaining why a changed election date to benefit MPs is unfair to the taxpayer. Yeah.
To hundreds of thousands of Canadians who don't want you to delay the next election and stick taxpayers with the bill for millions in pensions for members of parliament. The government's proposal to delay the election by 1 week would give taxpayer-funded pensions to up to 80 MPs who would otherwise not qualify. That's up to $120 million in pensions for those politicians. Some of those politicians will have served for barely 6 years and receive more than $2 million in pensions. 6 years, $2 million in taxpayer-funded pensions. There are two simple things the government could do to avoid sticking ordinary Canadians with a huge bill for taxpayer-funded pensions for dozens of politicians who don't deserve them. Number one, make the election earlier. There are about 350 days between now and the next scheduled election of October 20th, 2025. I have confidence that at least one of the 336 members of Parliament and 400,000 federal government bureaucrats can figure out one of those 350 days to hold the election. Number two, if somehow not a single MP or bureaucrat can figure out one of the 350 days between now and next October, then change the pension eligibility date so it's after the next election. Making taxpayers pay tens of millions of dollars so dozens of extra politicians can take a pension is unacceptable. Moving the election by just 1 week will mean up to 80 MPs will receive a pension they shouldn't. Those pensions will total up to $120 million. But even if the final cost to taxpayers is half of that, say $60 million, think of the money you're taking out of people's pockets and think about how that conversation is going to go the next time you're knocking on your voters' doors. $60 million is a year's worth of groceries for 3,000 families. Are you going to look your voters in the eye and tell them pensions for politicians are more important than food for families?
Exactly. I don't think it is. And I don't know, any of you MPs, you know, making the date longer so that you can get your pension. Do you know what everyone's going through? No, it just didn't work out. So I don't know. I think they're going to try to swing things around. In any case, remember to get your gold and silver. If you're watching what is going on, gold and silver is climbing. Our incredible economy is not. And this is a perfect time if you've been saving for a rainy day and you're thinking, what should I do to protect my funds? What you should definitely do is get into gold and silver. And that would be sovereigneyes@protonmail.com. Also, if you would like some ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, that would be mia@sozohealth@proton.me. mia@sozohealth@proton.me. We have also been sounding the praise of Laetral. Laetral is a drug that President Reagan used when he had prostate cancer, and it has been, shut out of mainstream. They have been trying to subvert it. Big Pharma doesn't want people knowing about this because God made something incredible in the seeds of apricot. And apricot seeds will actually do so many amazing things for your body. It's called B17. And we haven't heard a lot about it in recent years, but now it's making a comeback because cancers are up 300% in Canada. So rncstore.com/Laura-Lynn. If you're having any problems, you know someone that's having a problem, getting some Laetral into you is probably one of the finest, best things that you could ever do. And so make your order today. Well, I always love spending this time here with you, everyone. What a great, great time in history to be united, as we talked about at the top of the show, and to find unity. And I pray that there will be unity, not only in America, but here in Canada as well. My website is lauralynn.tv. And for any of you who love this kind of programming where we tell the truth unashamedly, unabashedly, we speak what is right and what is pure and what is good. And we are not afraid of man. We rather would fear God and tell the truth than to be afraid of man. And if you appreciate that, if you go to my website at lauralynn.tv, you can see that button right over there, and you press that button. There's many ways that you can help us. You can become a monthly partner. You can give a one-time donation or an anonymous donation. Some of you love giving anonymously. And while that's kind of hard on me because I want to say thank you to you all, we really appreciate that you care about what we do, and it really matters. We do also have something super easy, and that's the 1-800 number that you can call, 1-800-437-4356, and someone will be there to help you and also to pray with you, because these are desperate times, and sometimes we face a lot of personal pain and crisis, and we want you to know that we understand it, and we've been there. We all go through things that are bigger than us, and we are there for you. Also, we've got snail mail, which is P.O. Box 1065, Vedder Crossing, Chilliwack, British Columbia, V2R 3N7. And if you are somebody who is liking you're liking the Interac, you send an e-transfer, and if that works for you, then LLTT live@pm.me. You can find us there. It's wonderful. Well, I want to read to you with Mel. Obviously, you can see that there's an excitement about what has taken place in the United States of America. And David also had a real breakthrough in 2 Samuel 22 when David's song of praise rang out because he had literally seen his enemies be destroyed. So it says this in 2 Samuel 22, David sang to the Lord the words of his song when the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. Saul, that was an enemy, literally hunting him down, trying to destroy him, trying to take his life at every turn, not appreciating the hand of God on his life, but rather turning into a little bit of a demonic nightmare in his final days. And David made a pact. He would not go against the Lord's anointed, and he would not kill Saul, even when he had the opportunity to do so. But he said this about God, and this is true in our lives, and it's true for America, and it's true for Canada. How do we get through when we're being assaulted on every side by our enemies, whether they're physical, spiritual, whether they're globalists and we don't know exactly who they are, or whether we know who and what their names are. And sometimes our enemies are our bosses. Sometimes it's an abusive relationship. Sometimes it's right in front of our face and we're dealing with it in a real world scenario right now. This is what David said. He said, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation. He is my strong." Have a good day. You know, it's not easy to deliver the truth of what our sick world is doing, but for some of us, we feel that we have no choice. Because if we are silent about these abominable things, then we are letting evil go unchecked, and we cannot do that. For those of you wonderful people who are writing me and are sharing your encouragement, I am deeply grateful. Thank you for all the letters that you've been sending. Thank you for the donations and the support. I found out that in order to speak the truth, you have to become very, very strong. If you would go to my website at www.laura-lynn.tv, you'll find all of the ways that you can contact me. Remember, my friends, all is well. All is well. Thanks for joining me.